Welcome to the Pop-Off with Gene FitzMagic and friends. Your daily sports and entertainment radio show, live all over the world. You're going to want to hear what these guys have to say. With their hot takes, recaps, previews, and predictions, sometimes these guys might get along, but most times, they won't. So see what happens when these guys pop off about the world of sports and entertainment.
What's up, everybody? It is the Pop-Off. It is Tuesday, and joining me, Gene FitzMagic, who I am. Joining me today is Caleeb Pinkett, Nigel Downer, James Wudi. Nigel's got a hat. He's also got an October Blue Jays shirt, which I said to him before the show, is that an oxymoron? That doesn't seem like it fits right, but I can't talk because my team is in last place. How are you guys doing, man?
All good.
Doing good.
Big weekend, big fight weekend. We had a big boxing match, a big UFC fight. We'll talk a little bit about that. Some NFL injuries that we'll have to discuss. The Burrow injury. I know Caleeb has some thoughts on that, which me and Nigel will both be like, yeah, you make a good point. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But how was everybody's weekend?
You got to add Wudi to the text chain. You can't talk about us texting.
Is Wudi an iPhone or is Wudi an iPhone or is I feel like
Woody's like, what are you talking about? Like, what?
That's a good point.
I definitely don't know.
I feel like Wudi might not be. I think he's a
Android.
I think he's an Android. That might screw us. That might screw up.
The green bubble.
The green monster. So unfortunately, everybody with those green bubbles seem to get left out of group text.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
I was going to add him, and I realized I can't. It won't go through.
Fine, we'll start a WhatsApp group, I guess. There's always one, man. There's always one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you got to. That keeps the world fresh. You know?
True. Yeah. Keep them on
you
your
gotta have
toes.
somebody that's like, nah. I got a rotary phone.
I
You know what I'm saying?
So, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about, you know what? We did a lot of Jet stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about Caleeb's team, the Eagles, this week with their new unis. We got ours. The Jet ones in last week.
They're gorgeous.
I love them, too.
Randall Cunningham days.
That's what I said. It reminds me of the old
It's not
Cunningham
the
days.
same green. See, when it's about colors, colors are very specific. You know what I mean? So it's like aqua is not blue. You know what I mean? Like it's a variation, but it's not blue. This green is not the Randall green like that. It's a little bit lighter. It's a little bit more minty, but it's fire. Like the gunmetal gray, love it. But anyway, I digress. Let's go.
So, well, first let's start with the big news of this past week. The Joe Burrow. Well, Pat, you're see this.
No, he just wants to show them. Those are fire.
We're gonna talk about that in a minute. We will get into that in a little bit.
Did you hear what the coach of Oregon said about Dion in Colorado? We'll get to that too.
I didn't hear about that. So you know what? That's a topic. Let's do that because I don't know about that. It sounds like it's good.
Yeah.
I did hear about. My quarterback and the Denver coach. We'll talk about that.
All right.
But first, let's start with that Burrow injury because I know Caleeb. And let's go with you first because I know you had some insight to what you think this really could be.
It's to me, and I'm not putting any bad mojo out there or anything like that. But there used to be a very, very articulate and smart ESPN analysis named Jalen Rose, who was recently let go for I don't know why. There's some other people they could have let go, but I digress. I will leave that alone. But anyway.
I didn't know that.
Jalen was talking about there was a time when there was a guy named Kevin Durant who played on a team called the Golden State Warriors. They happened to be playing against a team in the same city where Nigel is right now. That is Toronto. And there was a guy named Kawhi on that team, if you guys don't remember. Anyway, Jalen Rose came on national TV because KD had a calf strain. Jalen Rose said, I'm going to tell you guys the truth. I don't care what Golden State says. I played in this league. A calf strain is code for an Achilles issue that they just do not want to say it. Everybody said, oh, no, Jalen. Oh, he said, okay, mark my words. KD comes back. Everybody said, oh, we told you, Jalen. Jalen said, okay. KD scores 11 points in about 90 seconds and then sits down and cannot move. Why? Because now his Achilles was what? Ruptured. How did it go from your calf to your Achilles? Because it never was a calf. It always was the Achilles. So now I say that to you only to bring it to this point. I watched that Joe Burrow practiced and he pulled up. The way he pulled up and the way he kept that leg up in the air was eerily similar to a man, rest in peace, named Kobe Bean Bryant, when he did the exact same thing. Fast forward to Kevin the Spider Durant, then the Durantula, and then he did the same thing, and then I saw that with Burrow. I said, ooh, tragedy. And they said, oh, it's a calf strain. I said, yeah, okay. Jalen has heard that before. I'm like, that's pure Achilles. It looks like it's that. It's why they're saying weeks, because they're evaluating it. Now, the reason why they're going to say calf is because they do not want any team in the AFC to think, in the AFC North, to think that Burrow's out or that they're, but trust me, that is a major blow to the Bengals. That opens up the AFC North completely now. Ravens are more in play. The Browns are more in play. The Steelers are more in play. It is crazy because Burrow, watch, he won't play any preseason games. He'll be there for week 1, and it's going to be very ginger them watching him. I promise you that, because that is a injury that can be season ending, and for Burrow and absolutely the Bengals. So that's what I think it is. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
Wudi, do you remember in 1999 when our Jets were supposed to win the Super Bowl? They were going to win. That was everybody's pick, was the Jets. And then I think it was like the third quarter on the season opener against the Patriots. Vinny Testaverde walking to the huddle, pops his Achilles. Season over. Do you remember that? That was that heartbreaker?
Of course.
So if that's what this is, are the Bengals good enough to make the playoffs with another quarterback?
No.
I think they are. I think they are. Do I think they will? That's a different story.
I'm in the same
AFC
boat.
North is crazy. If they're in the AFC South, I would be hyped. I would be hyped. Like, hey, it's all good.
Yeah.
In the AFC North, it's tough.
You see the memes of people like cutting off their leg? They're like, oh, can I donate my leg?
Yes.
Bengal fans, they finally got a guy. But so, what's your take on this, Wudi, as far as this? A, the injury. B, the impact of it. Give us your take.
Well, I mean, how could I dispute the validity of everything Caleeb just dropped? From Kobe to KD, to now this Joe Burrow. That's something I was not tracking on at all. So now taking it as that, right? That this clip that we saw was an Achilles injury. That's definitely tough. But there has to be some, and I'm not a doctor, but there has to be something, right, where if it's strained right now, like I don't know exactly how the Achilles works. I know when it's torn or where it's ruptured, it's over, right? It's you're out for months. It is, they say, the most devastating injury, like more than the ACL, because your explosiveness is gone. Like, just simply stepping is painful, right? For even after the surgery, after the rehab. So what can be done right now if this is a strain? Like, is it just staying off of it for weeks? Like, that's what I don't know. And if there is if there's somebody with a PhD, let me know, because I don't know. But that's the thing. So if it is that serious, definitely devastating for the Bengals. Definitely puts the AFC North wide open. But I'm just hoping for the sake of the league. Like, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the league. I want to see good football. Yeah. And Joe Burrow is no lower than 3. Some people say 1
Number
or 2
1.
in terms of quarterbacks in the league. Like, he is elite. He's as good as they come. So I really hope he gets to play as many football games as possible. So as a fan, I was definitely sad to see it go down. My heart is with Burrow and his family.
And that's the thing too. As a team that's got like Super Bowl aspirations, as a fan of a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, I don't want to win this year. And people say, well, you played the Bengals and they didn't have Joe Burrow. I don't want, like if they happen to still sneak into the playoffs, I don't want to be like, oh, you played them, wild card weekend and you beat them 24-17 and they didn't have, I don't want that. So I do want to play Joe Burrow. I want to play the best of the best. I want to win while playing the best. Now, directly impacted is Nigel because his team shares a division. Nigel, are you kind of happy a little bit?
No, I'm not. And it's I know you say that in jest, but here's the thing: exactly what you just said, Gene. I'm gonna mash up these two things, and one of the things is what Caleeb was just talking about. Is like in 2019 when Durant went down, and I just watched the video again just to remind myself because we had that little chat a couple of days ago when we heard about the injury, and Caleeb brought up, Durant and when he pulled up. And when he did what he was trying to drive, Durant was like on the right side of the 3-point line trying to drive in. He took like 2 or 3 dribbles to make a move, and then he pulled up, and I think it was Serge Ibaka stole the ball, got a layup, whatever. But the way that Durant was just kind of holding his leg, it wasn't like he was in pain. It was more like he was in shock, like, oh man. And he was just kind of feeling it. And again, if you watch the Burrow video, it is eerily the same thing where he's not screaming. He's not like, oh my God. It's just like, oh, what? This is weird. I know something is off. I don't know what it is. The reason why I'm telling that story is because when we ended up eventually winning the championship the next game, which was in Golden State, because that was game 5 and we were up. We should have won that game. But it's that stigma. It's that like, it's the fans hating on us because one, they thought a bunch of us cheered. Some of us did. It wasn't me, but some of us did. That's on record, which sucks because it's not the cheering of the injury. It's cheering of like your best man or one of your best men is down, which again is kind of unsportsmanlike. Not kind of, is unsportsmanlike. But having that little asterisk from the Golden State fans' point of view, it sucks for us because we're like, no, we're still a great club. We fought, like we took them to the line, and it sucks that he went down because he was a huge asset to their team. So I digress. When we're talking about Burrow's injury directly impacting the division and my Steelers, yeah, man, because they just went to the Super Bowl last year. Who doesn't want to see them try and get there again because they were this close? They were within one play. They were within one call of lifting the Lombardi. You know what I mean? So our division, as we had said like weeks ago or even last week, I mean, time is a construct, whatever. It's like this is the toughest division, man. Like, let's be real. This is the toughest division, if not one of the top 2 or 3. So to have that injury happen so early, it sucks. It feels like a curse because it's like he made it all the way, and now he's got a December or whenever he can come back. Again, is that 4 games, 5 games? Who knows? That's a long time, man. And shout out to our boy Trevor Siemian, who had 184 yards last year, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Because you're up to bat, bro.
Which doesn't ask Wudi. Ask Wudi how that works when he's the next man up. It doesn't.
Garbage.
So, well, I gotta chime in on this one a little bit with Nigel, right? So one thing I'm gonna say, Nigel, who cares what the Golden State fans say? Because I'm gonna tell you this: they can say, "Oh, it's an asterisk." But what about your 73-9 season? Mm-hmm. That's not an asterisk.
True.
Did you go all the way and lose?
True.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
What? You're not better than the Bulls. What are you talking about? But they claim that. Oh, 73-9. Yeah, right up until you lost. So shut up. We don't want to hear no asterisks. If there's not an asterisk on that season, there is no asterisk on the Raptors win.
Preach.
There we go.
Agreed.
Settled. Now, the second thing is this. Nigel, and you too, Gene, you got to take it how you get it in the NFL.
That's fair. You can only play who you play.
And listen, the Raiders could have won a Super Bowl had Bo Jackson not got injured against the Bengals. Right? Mm-hmm. And like his whole career was over after that one hit that he still ran another 85 yards for a touchdown.
Monster.
I mean, if that's not one of the greatest athletes of all time, top 5. Because people could talk about Wilt Chamberlain. I'm watching that documentary, Goliath. It's actually, wow. Because I wasn't alive then. I didn't know what he was doing in the 60s and 70s. Something special. Anyway, I digress. The point is, though, guys, you got to take it when you get it. You got to take it when you get it. And that's how it is in the NFL. That's what makes it so fun and why we love watching it. Because look what happened to 49ers last year. As great as that team was, there was nothing without the quarterback. It did not matter how good the defense was. It didn't matter nothing. That's why I said that the Bengals wouldn't do nothing without Burrow. And I know I said not make the playoffs, and I do believe that. The AFC is stacked, you guys. AFC North, AFC East, AFC West. Like, What are we talking about? Like this is, and you know, I left out the AFC South, but even no disrespect to Jacksonville, right? So there's a lot of teams that will be vying for, you know, I don't know. And without a quarterback, you see with a team like the Niners couldn't do nothing, right? And I get that's the NFC Championship, and my boys was ready, but I just feel like it's such a quarterback-driven league. If Trevor Siemian is still the same Trevor Siemian that Wudi said was garbage, tragedy. Yeah. Tragedy. I don't care if you got what's his name? What's the receiver?
Chase Higgins.
You got Chase out there. He'll be chasing nothing. He won't be chasing no passes. I tell you that, because it ain't gonna happen. So I'm telling you guys, and you gotta take it how you get it. Unfortunate for Burrow, but if I'm Kenny Pickett, I'm licking my chops. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm gonna say the right thing in the press, and in private, I'm like, man, please, I'm finna smash these dudes. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Nobody cared when what's his name? Mr. Jackson in Baltimore wasn't playing with teams like, oh man, Lamar's not here. This win doesn't matter. Yeah, right.
You're right.
You know, so I think you guys are being a little too hard on yourselves. Take it how it's given.
I listen. I will celebrate just the same if he wasn't.
I don't say
there
celebrate their injury.
No. I don't. I'm not the injury. I'm talking about the win. I'm talking about the win. I never celebrate an injury. That's bad karma. It's bad juju. I wouldn't do that. But I would celebrate the win the same way. I just wouldn't want to defend like kind of like what Nigel said. It's almost like sometimes you feel like you have to defend that win. I don't want to have to defend my win because people are going to say blah 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 wasn't there, or this.
People going to say whatever they want. The Bulls win. Michael Jordan's a ball hog. Oh no, he pushed off. Oh no, Kobe and Shaq were supposed to win. They're so big. Like, I mean, come on. Like, they're always going to say something. Tom Brady's ball was a little bit flatter.
Well, Deflategate might have something to do with something. I'm not a fan of Deflategate. But
complete silence from the rest of us. We're like, I mean,
we're all AFC guys. You got to say we're AFC guys. We have a problem with that.
My point exactly. That's why you guys just take it the way you get it. People always gonna have something to say.
I hear you. Well, you know what? From one offensive injury to a defensive injury, looks like Jalen Ramsey's going to miss a ton of time. But hey, guys, don't worry. They signed Eli Apple. They should be just fine. Nigel.
God. Woo!
Nigel, what does this mean for the AFC East?
It might be over. Not now.
This is bananas because it was like, it just felt like I was reading a couple articles and it felt like pure panic on the Dolphins side. Like it was like red alert, like these like it's just like the whole thing just blew up and it imploded with this injury. Yes, it's a big deal, man. To have Jalen Ramsey down, it's a big deal. I mean, he's a huge sign for them, right? And it sucks. And word on the street is that when it happened on Thursday, he was covering Tyreek Hill, and you're like, oh, okay, well. That kind of makes sense. I mean, that guy fast. You know what I mean? That bro fast. You know, but anyway, so he gets injured. But then on Friday, this guy's full meniscus surgery. On Friday, like less than 24 hours later. If we all had access to that kind of healthcare, like, could we talk about that for a second? So this is not only a big deal for the defense because they really, really needed this just to keep the momentum going, to keep to keep their juices flowing. So now they have Xavier Howard, right? Who I think it would be him or again Eli Apple. I'm not sure which side Ramsey was covering, left or right. But you have Howard, who's next up, 35 solo tackles, 1 interception, 8 season, and also Apple. He's 8 seasons deep too, and he's 27. So it's like we'll see how that goes, man. I mean, he's been bopping around. Apple bopped around, and he was in Cincy. He only had. He was going on to his second, I think, 1-year contract or coming out of a second, consecutive 1-year contract. So I don't know what this guy's energy is going to be like coming into camp.
Well, I mean, he's going to want to fight for playing time because
he's going to think he's the man. He thinks he's the guy.
He's already kind of got that.
He does talk a lot.
He's going to be in
for a journeyman.
Oh no, he thinks he's the man.
Yeah.
Until he gets toasted. because that's exactly what's going to happen.
Tyreek might kill his meniscus too. I mean,
no, they're going to tell Tyreek, hey, calm down.
Yeah,
they have to.
You're killing our, like, come on.
Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. So 75% practice today, boys. 75%. Tyreek, 35. All right, let's go. Let's huddle up. Let's go.
Real though. Seriously.
But you know what? This I had the Dolphins finishing in second this year with the Bills. Actually, one of my hot takes. There's a couple of hot takes I had this football season. One of them was Bills finishing in third. This might kind of reverse that. I might have to go back with Bills in second. Wudi, do you think this? Well, actually, put it this way: how many wins or losses does this injury mean for the Dolphins?
Well, before I answer that question, as a Jet fan, I just have to acknowledge the significance of this injury to the Jets' chances. I think the Jets have a better chance of beating this team. I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. I'm scared of the Dolphins, and I think the Ramsey Howard connection was right up there with Sauce and DJ Reed. And like, I feel like, we talk about the absolute best cornerback duo in the league. The Dolphins and the Jets are both in the top 5. And now we have replaced Jalen Ramsey with barbecue chicken. So
yes,
I'm so excited. I'm excited. How many losses? I mean, I feel like we don't know, because the other scary thing about the Dolphins is that they can put up the points with the best of them. And that's what we've seen last year when Tua head was right. He wasn't seeing stars. They could put up, 6 TDs with that offense. So they might lose a game, a shootout or something, because a lot of shootouts in this day and age comes down to who has the ball last. So if they're, fate is not on their side, they might lose a game or two. But I don't think this is like a season-ending or season-derailing injury like how Joe Burrow is, because they still got a lot of great pieces on that defense, and that offense really, I mean, we could be looking at one of the best offenses in the entire NFL. So I wouldn't be too worried about losing Ramsey, unless they're facing the Jets. Let's cook.
Let me ask you a question. Does it change your opinion, your outlook, what they will do this season? Like, I don't know how many wins you had them getting beforehand. Do they win less games, or do they squeak?
Like one less. Like if I had them at 11, they're going to win 10, but I still think they're a playoff team, no doubt.
Okay. Caleb?
Yes, of course. But worse than Ramsey to me is Tua. Like the coach came out today talking about Tua learned how to fall, and we saw him in practice, and he fell on his back and rolled it into his back somersault. And I'm like, but y'all ain't nobody hitting him.
First of all, it's a bad sign when your coach has to brag about your quarterback learning how to fall. That's not a good thing.
And I'm like, you can't hit in practice. They took you don't. There's no contact no more, right? Outside of like grabbing and like tagging, it's literally 2-hand touch.
Yeah,
it's different when you got somebody. I forgot on the what's the guy you guys just signed on your defensive line?
Quinnen Williams.
When you got Mr. Williams coming with a 4.5 speed, coming to blast you, and you get hit. Now let's see you somersault, right? Like, because you're gonna get power drived into the ground. The somersault might break your neck trying to flip over. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm scared for him.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is the biggest weakness for the Dolphins, even with a healthy Jalen Ramsey, because without him, it gets exponentially more difficult, because the AFC East is a monster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
in addition to that, too, in addition to, somebody coming full force, it's the spontaneity of it. It's the erraticness of however the body is flying at you. Listen, man, shout out to Tua for, I hope that he can navigate that, but like, you don't know where bodies are going to fall at you, or they're not going to come at, it's not the movies. They're not going to come at you the same time, take after take, so you can do you can do that exact same fall, and then you can get up and you go, good take, we got it. I think we got it, guys. Let's move on, next shot. It's not like that. You know what I mean? So sometimes you just have linemen tripping backwards. like it's your own boys. So I mean, listen, man, again, I hope that he's able to navigate each and every hit or each and every fumble or whatever happens. But like that's like we all know what's happening here. Like we all know that.
And I love him. He's a great guy. I worry.
Yeah.
Here's my thing about that. I can't speak to Tua's health. I mean, if they do have him practicing how to fall, they should bring in like Shawn Michaels or somebody bringing a pro wrestler. Right?
Yo, why you BSing? That's real.
That's a better move. You know? That's a better move.
But if he does go down, see here's what I didn't know about the Bengals. Right, when you guys talked about Trevor Siemian, I didn't know Trevor Siemian was QB too. So let me walk back. I'm going to officially walk back my comments. All right, they're probably not going to make the playoffs. Siemian has to start games. But for the Dolphins, they have Mike White. And, you know, I've seen Mike White.
He can win a game.
Yeah, he
Mike
can.
White. He's obviously not, you know, great. He's not top 32 in the league. But what he can do at a very high level is hit guys within 10 yards, right? If he knows the route and he knows the system, and Mike McDaniel is from that Shanahan coaching tree, just like Mike LaFleur, which is where Mike White came from. So he knows the playbook, and he can hit Tyreek Hill in the slant, Jalen Waddle in the slant. Obviously, it's not going to be the same, but it's not going to be that bad. Like, I feel like they're still going to be scoring 3-4 touchdowns a game.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Mike White is the perfect quarterback for a Kyle Shanahan, because you're welcome to the Kyle Shanahan tree, right? So he's the perfect quarterback for a Kyle Shanahan offense. He's the perfect quarterback for it. I think he could potentially be a pro, again, in most systems, no. I think he could potentially be a Pro Bowl quarterback playing for the 49ers. It's not going to happen. I know that.
you got everybody making the Pro Bowl for the 49ers.
I tell you, you know what it is? I love that system. I know Wudi. It says whoever goes there, I'm like, Mark Sanchez should come back and go play there. I'm telling you right now, I love that Kyle Shanahan offense. I think Mike White, we saw how good he played in limited sample sizes without really being able to get his feet wet with LaFleur. And then you're going to take him to who's better than at that offense than Mike LaFleur. I would say it's probably Mike McDaniel. Who's better than that offense than Mike McDaniel, Kyle Shanahan. You put him on those two teams, I think he's going to flourish. So if I'm Tua, there's pressure to stay healthy this year, not just for your own health, but because if Mike White comes in, we talked earlier about Wally Pipp. I don't know, was that pre-show or was that during the show? I forget.
No.
It was pre-show. All right. Well, anyone knows the Wally Pipp story where Wally Pipp was the starter, got hurt. His replacement came in. You never heard of Wally Pipp again. That could happen to Tua. Why couldn't it, right? I think Mike White's in a perfect situation, which is one of the reasons why I think Miami was a spot for him, because I think they've seen what he's capable of doing, what he does on offense as a quarterback, and he fits that system to a T. And I think that's why one of the reasons why he went there, knowing, okay, listen, I'm not going to be the starter. I mean, because I think he looked at after this season of going someplace where he has a chance to start. Miami's a place where he has a chance to start because you have a quarterback that's hanging by a string. You know what I mean? So, and I think he'll excel there, which makes me nervous as a Jet fan. I'd hate to see him come back into MetLife and burn us, but he really he can. Especially with our linebackers not good in coverage. He's going to put those right where the linebackers should be is where he's going to put a lot of those passes.
Those crossing routes. Don't the Dolphins have a good tight end? Who's their tight end?
Gesicki. Wait, is
Gesicki? He left.
No, you're right. He left.
I think Adam Shaheen is now TE.
Oh, not
who's decent.
No shade on Shaheen, but
he's not Gesicki.
You just never know. But because that's where a dominant or a good tight end changes everything.
Yeah.
Because that makes it because imagine Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with just even a Higbee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It becomes nasty. You know what I mean? So that's all I was wondering about that. But, I think for everybody, I know the Wally Pipp thing that my man G was talking about, it's closer to Drew Bledsoe, you guys. You would get it. You got Drew Bledsoe. That is more recent, Black, it comes at a time when black people could actually eat in the same restaurant with white folks.
Yeah, White might have been pre that. I don't know if I feel like maybe I should apologize for using Wally Pipp now. I'm sorry.
I was like, oh no, he's gonna drop that fight. Oh yeah, okay.
Well, I am
like,
apologizing.
Oh, yeah, okay, Drew, he get Drew Bledsoe. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
My bad. All right, well, let's switch gears from the NFL. Let's go into a little bit of boxing and UFC. We'll go to UFC 291 first, since I know Wudi and Caleeb are big UFC guys. Caleeb, what's your take on 291, man?
Loved it. Extremely surprised. I didn't think Gaethje was going to take my man out with a head kick. I thought it was going to be another war. Like, those guys are, if you guys watch UFC, you know, Poirier is a warrior, a dog, always leaves it in the octagon. You know what I mean? 100%. And Gaethje, are you kidding me? Like, it's not even a discussion. So we knew what that was. And especially you saw the first one. It was a classic. And this one, listen, I was surprised. I was like, oh no. Like, that's what I love about it. You know what I mean? And I'll use this as an example as when and I'll re-reference it when we get into the boxing that I'm sure we're going to talk about as well. But one shot, out, done. My man, my man Herb comes in with the people's elbow, flashing in on my man. Like, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was over. Like, no more hits. It was, you know, and I was glad to see it. Poirier is fine. I watched him on Ariel Harani. Shout out to Ariel's show. He talked about it. Gaethje is, you know, got Conor McGregor challenged him. Gaethje's like, yeah, right. Go get a drug test. You know, all of that. So it was great, but a great night's of fight. I think my boy Pereira lost. I thought Jan Blachowicz won that fight. I did. It is. But, and hey, it only matters what the records say, and the records say Alex won, then that's what it is. But I think, Jan, I really think you did, and I know it doesn't matter, but, you know, hey, buddy, it is what it is. That's why we watch the sport. But, again, fantastic card. Shout out to Kevin Holland, that fight. Shout out to my man Bobby from Fontana. Let me tell you something. I'm from Reno Valley. That's in the Inland Empire. Fontana's 20 minutes from my mama's house. Are you kidding me? Go ahead, Bobby Mean Green out there, boy. Hey, Ferguson, I love you. I think it's time to hang him up, brother.
Definitely.
You've done it for too long. You are a warrior. I do not want to see you get hurt and abused and just hurt your legacy. God willing, you saved money and you don't have to do it for that. But I think you should hang it up, brother. Like, you have nothing else to prove. You are first ballot Hall of Famer. Love you to death. I just think it's time. It's time.
Wudi,
well, shout out to the Black Beast. I was about to give him that same speech, right? I was prepared because he's been losing a little bit.
Yeah,
but he hit him with the knee. You know, he was Jorge Masvidal.
I don't even know Derek could get his knee up that high.
Yeah. So it was a fantastic card all around. I enjoyed every fight, like you said. I was rooting for Alex Pereira. I was rooting for Payton. But I just feel like Jan dominated the first. The second, you know,
right.
Payton had more gas. He had more juice, right?
Yep.
In the second. But then the third, Jan came right back. Like, I literally don't understand. But I feel like Dana White, you know, he is Vince McMahon. He is trying his best to push these stars. And right now, Payton is like the new shiny toy, right? Jan is a former champion. So that's what he does. Like, I feel like he also did that with Sugar Sean. When he faced Piotr Jan, another former champ.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Jan won that fight.
That's what I'm saying.
Piotr Jan won that fight.
He did. But Sugar Sean was a shiny toy. So you got to push Sean. Like, that's what keeps Dana White literally keeps doing the same thing. It's a formula. And right now it's working because now Sugar Sean is about the main event in a month or so.
Yes, the Funk Master. It's this month. And
August 19th, I think, actually.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, that's their formula. And now it's about to happen again. They're going to have Payton face Yuri, right, for the light heavyweight title.
That's going to be good. Yuri Prochazka is no joke.
He is no joke at all.
He is no joke. Like, that is going to be a fight.
His strikes are unbelievable. Like, I would be scared. I would literally be scared if I was.
I think Yuri can beat him. I just saw Jan just beat him to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know Yuri can.
I literally think Yuri will win. I feel the only reason or the only way you can get Yuri is if you have more than just stand up, which Payton does not have. Like that, like you need to have a well-rounded like Glover almost beat Erie.
That's right.
Right? He gave him the win. Like so, I don't think he's the dude.
Shout out to Glover.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Erie's going to retain, and then when Hill comes back, that's when we'll see.
Woo!
Yeah,
that's a bad injury though.
I know.
That's a bad injury.
Achilles.
Achilles too,
yes,
guys.
Achilles. Yeah.
He popped his playing basketball. How about it was a UFC like sponsored basketball game, or it was some sort of thing like that, and he went out there and popped his Achilles and had to surrender the championship.
That's great. I didn't even realize it was a UFC sponsored event.
I think it was something. Don't quote me. I think it was that, or it was at least it was something that he was doing a favor for something that was like real. Yeah. Like it was like an event thing that he went to. But I thought it was UFC sponsored, but I could be wrong about that.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully he's back. Hopefully he doesn't lose his explosion. He, because now people come back, right? KD came back, right? And
but it's different.
He is different.
You talk about planning, turning, and turning to turn a kick, a punch, to block, to get on the ground, to sprawl. Woo! That is a lot. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think he'll ever be the same. I don't think he gets back to the title. Hell no. UFC, it moves so fast.
It does.
So fast. The fighters improve like.
But he's so young. Like
that's what happened to Connor. People just caught up to him.
Yeah, that's true.
You find your spot when you're that guy. But it goes like this. It goes by like that in the UFC.
That's true. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like Hill is young. And I feel like with Connor, what happened with Connor, that's like a personality thing. Because that's what happened with Ronda. Like, they just felt like, oh, I'm the man. I'm the fucking king. And, like, they just don't, like, work
to him. Connor, though.
Yeah.
I like Hill. He's the best Hill. Him and Chael Sonnen. I love Uncle Chael.
Chael's bad funny. I'm just like, because like I feel like you gotta adapt. You gotta adapt with the times. And like the young guys, I feel like they know that. Like people that are coming up now, like there's not too many people from before that like I feel like Bones Jones is like the only one. Oh, yeah. And even he could have lost in that race.
Oh,
like,
no.
We don't even like, you know what I'm saying? Like
who was it? It was oh gosh, he started. Oh gosh, I know I'm blanking, but I felt this young fighter beat him. I forgot his name right now. I could see him.
Is it Dominic Reyes?
Yes, Dominic Reyes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I thought Dominic Reyes won that fight. That's the only fight that I'll honestly admit that I've seen that I thought Bones might have lost. That's it.
Exactly.
So that's that. But anyway, I know Gene, and I see Gene and Nigel are like, yo, what?
You guys need a room?
Hey, listen. I'm gonna say this.
We are here. We are lost in here.
I'm gonna say this about being a spectator during this conversation. Do you guys remember that meme? It was like a decade old, and I think it was triplets, 3 little white babies, and they were talking in front of a fridge, and they're like, and the other one was like, and then the third one was like, and they're doing it. That's exactly what I was watching just right now. You guys just like going up, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this is, other than the fact that Homeboy did an amazing flip off the octagon, and like he was a real sportsman when it came to like, he got the belt, and then Gaither, is that guy? Gaethje, and then so they crowned him champ, and what I noticed from one of the vids is that he took it off and gave it to his squad, congratulated the opponent, and then went back, and then he was gonna get interviewed. He was like, hold on, got the belt, put it around his shoulders, like, okay, now we can chat. I was like, this guy gangster. I don't know if they do it all the time like that, but it just there was so much respect and so much like for me.
They are.
It was so much like forethought about how I'm gonna make this move, because to have the belt on your shoulder and say, hey man, good fight. There's a different mojo around that. Like, that's a real gangster kind of move that you don't need to do. Like, you don't need to do that kind of alpha male thing after you guys just went mano a mano. And then I also thought to myself, does anybody wear the belt around their waist anymore? Are we not wearing belts?
Right. Not really.
Not really. Not wrestling. You see it on the shoulder.
For new champions, Dana puts it around their waist.
Once Mr. Perfect and Ravishing Rick Rude came out
Yeah.
like that was
Yeah.
it.
That's what I thought. And I was like, oh, wrestling changed the game with that one move because now it's like it's not cool to wear it around your waist like you usually would unless it's for a photo shoot or something. But anyways.
But I feel like MJF, I think, is the only guy I ever see it wear around his waist anymore.
Yeah.
MJF does. So.
Yep. But yeah, man. But anyway, sorry about that, guys.
No, it's good. Listen,
don't apologize. That was great. I loved it. I loved it.
Here's why. Let me tell you guys. Everybody can listen. It was over for me with Connor. I was like, okay, I can't deny him no more. I love this dude. Is when he breaks his leg against Poirier, and he's sitting on the canvas, and Joe Rogan comes up and gives him the microphone, and he tells Dustin Poirier from across the ring, "You weren't sending me DMs. You weren't sending me DMs." I'm done. I was like, I love this man. Like, he's always performing. His leg is broken. He doesn't know if he'll ever fight again, but he knows he's still on, and that camera's on him. And he screams out, "Your wife is in my DMs." So it's like it doesn't matter if you won. I win. That's heel shit. Sorry, that's heel stuff, you guys. It's heel genius.
It is.
Ric Flair would do that. It's like, that's what you do. So that's why I love him. So there we go. I know he can't beat nobody no more. I don't care. He's hilarious. Comedy does everything.
Hopefully he'll stick around somehow, or even in broadcasting, because he'll be fantastic.
Oh yeah, broadcaster.
You know, I'd love to see him give a WWE run. Just do it. Just get professional wrestling for a minute. Let
me tell you, Connor could do it. Colby Covington could do it. Shout out to Big Cole. That's my man. Also, like there's guys that have that person. Nate Diaz absolutely could have done it. Like there's wrestlers, I mean, like that got fighters that got that wrestler thing with them, like where they could really do it and make you believe it. You know, like, oh yeah. Volkanovski could. I don't like
Volk would be crazy in there.
I mean, I respect him. He is a
what about Masvidal? Could you see him making the transition?
Oh, of course he could.
He definitely could.
He could be the new Razor Ramon.
One of my favorite clips of him is the time he was eating pizza, talking about, I'll hurt that little dude.
Yeah. Jorge too. Jorge's a great heel.
Yeah.
Because he plays it so straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The problem with the UFC is it's real consequences.
Yeah.
So and not just UFC, fighting sports. So when you say that somebody is A, B, C, and D, and then they knock you out and they keep replaying it, and Joe Rogan says, "Okay, so look, so when his fist hit you in your face, what were you thinking? What happened there, right? Like it's the what you're like." So listen,
I hope Rogan asked that question.
I just want to say I respect everybody. I was just selling the fight. Like you lose, the octaves go up, the bass is gone, all the arrogance is gone. Like so it's so that's why when you're a heel, you got to stand with it.
There's
and those guys do. They all did. They've taken their lumps.
Yeah.
So from that fight we'll go to some regular to boxing.
Yep.
Terrence Crawford, Spence Jr. This was just a beatdown.
So I'll let Wudi and Nigel and you guys do this, but I'm gonna just say this right quick. Remember what I was talking about? How Poirier got knocked out with one kick and it was over. To me, that's better than the beating. Beating that Spence Jr. took Saturday night. Yeah. To me, ladies and gentlemen, that is 1,000% worse. One shot versus I don't know how many punches that man landed on his face, but that many.
Yeah, it was like seeing a Rocky fight without the comeback.
That's what I was
you ever watch Rocky Rocky will spend 45 minutes of that film getting his ass kicked, and then the last 2 minutes turns it around. It was that, except those last 2 minutes didn't happen. I don't know if I've ever seen a beatdown like that. For as Tyson, you see, like you said, one punch. I've never seen a beatdown last that long. And I actually thought Spence. I put my money on Spence before that fight. Like I thought Spence was going to win. There was a lot of great points. Your boy Caleeb, Stephen A. Smith had a lot of great points yesterday on First Take about with the car accidents and a lot of other stuff that's non-ring injuries. And you wonder, could that have played a major role in this? Because I've never, again, you never seen a beatdown like this, especially with someone that's supposed to be like you. When you go into that fight thinking this is going to be a classic fight, like I thought this was going to be an instant classic. I was excited about this fight, and for it to turn out the way it did with such a notable fighter, it's beyond me. Wudi, give me some take on it.
I mean, I feel like sometimes you get outclassed. I mean, with Caleeb, I think it's 100. I feel like what he said before is inarguable. One shot, you can wake up the next day and be like, I just got caught. That's what Kamaru Usman said in UFC when he got, he was winning a fight and got caught with the head kick. He was like, I just got caught. You cannot say that if you're Earl Spence, right? He was repeatedly just it was a master class from Bud Crawford. I don't want to get into speculation because I feel like that lends to what we were saying before about cheapening the achievement for Terrence Crawford. I think what he did, I actually felt like he was a more technically sound fighter. Maybe not the better athlete, but what we saw there was truly a master class. And sometimes that's what fighting is coming in there with a game plan and like simply executing a game plan. I feel like, is an underrated aspect to this. Super underrated. I feel like, to the naked eye or to the layman, right, who watches, it's just barbaric, punching and stuff like that. But there is so much IQ, so much philosophy.
Yeah. Patty,
that goes
put
into
it back
this.
up, Patty. If you look at, I didn't mean to cut you off. But look at punches landed, doubled them. I don't even remember that. I didn't even realize Spence landed 96 punches. It just didn't even feel like that.
This man landed 60% of his punches. So every 10 he threw, he landed 6.
Yep. And for every 10 that Spence threw, he landed 2.
Dude, listen, guys, that is way worse than what happened to Poirier.
Definitely.
Way worse.
How does Errol Spence come back from this?
You don't.
Kenny.
Unfortunately, in boxing, it's tough, and that's actually what the conversation that I was having in my green bubble chats was about. In UFC, like people can eat losses and they come back, right? Like no one thinks Poirier is trash now. Like not one person thinks that. But Spence, it will be a long road ahead if he wants to call himself pound for pound anything or top anything. We are talking. We are years away from him being able to even be able to think that, let alone say that in public. But in UFC, it's not quite the same. Poirier can come back and beat Oliveira, and now we're talking about his greatness again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess it was actually sad to watch. It really was. Yeah. Nigel, did you catch any of this? Did you hear it? Did you see it?
I saw bits and pieces of it, but I think the most important part for me that I want to extrapolate from this conversation is Wudi's breakdown of what he called near perfect execution. Mm-hmm. And I think like a game plan and near perfect execution or perfect execution, because I think that is something, and again, shout out to Wudi because you put it so eloquently. I think that is something that the layman fan or just the fan in general forgets when we see some kind of a beatdown like this in any sport. So whether it's physically in boxing or in UFC, or if we see it on the football field with the Patriots when they won multiple Super Bowls, we're not witnessing a team that's just better than the other team. We're not witnessing somebody that just like worked out longer or worked out harder. We're witnessing a plan that was put in place, strategic people or elements that were like put together and extrapolated and did all the research and did the work. And then you put it on the individual or individuals who are on the playing field to get the job done. And I just find that so fascinating, Wudi, that you said that, because I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it is. I mean, sometimes it just is generally a beatdown. Sometimes people just aren't prepared. But when you extrapolate and when you go dig a little deeper and you think about your favorite football team or your favorite baseball team or whatever it is, you're like, wow, man, the other team, that team knew what was up. They called their number and they came with it. Like the Eagles all season they came with it and they damn well almost ran the table. And so it's fascinating to watch that kind of thing. You don't expect it. You never expect it. This is, again, Gene, you just said you were thinking this was going to be a classic, man. You had that feeling like this is going to be great. I'm going to get my popcorn ready, start the microwave. By the time the microwave beeped, that match was over, bro. And that was 60 seconds. Your popcorn's halfway done. That match is over. So it's so fantastic to watch. And I think we should just all really remember that or keep that in the back of their mind, because I'm a soccer guy too. So when you see that thing executed and it's 1-0, there's a reason why it stays 1-0.
Well,
that's a good point.
There's one thing I will say that, and I'm glad Wudi brought it up, and just even your response to it, Nigel, is it is an art form.
Yeah.
Like, it's called martial arts, right? Like, words matter. It's called that for a reason. It is an art form, right? To be able to do those things and set things up and time it and all of that when it's at the highest, because it's like, your life is on the line. Like it's a real stake. You're gonna get hit in your face if this doesn't work, right? Like it's so different. And so yeah, you guys, absolutely, there should be a respect and an honor of it. But I will say this though, for you, Nigel, to bring it back to Canada, what you were witnessing is what they like to call the excellence of execution. There was a man who was my favorite wrestler of all time who used to say, "I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be."
Yeah. Hey, don't even think I don't know exactly. Oh, yeah. On hand. Yo.
Yes, boy. Heart.
Bro, my favorite of all time as well.
My guy just has the glasses, just sitting, just waiting. He's been waiting for a month and a half. Like, I'm gonna use you one day, baby. I'm gonna use you.
Hey, that was like it was set up. I promise I didn't talk to Wudi about none of that.
So you got amazing. Wait. Let's get Bret Hart. Is y'all favorite? Is Bret Hart?
He's my favorite wrestler.
Yeah, he's not. Are you serious?
He was so boring to me.
What?
Gene, stop. Gene.
Listen, can I tell you something? The Montreal Screwjob, I stood up and cheered. I loved it. It was Shawn Michaels winning the title. Oh, I would listen. I'm not a. I thought Bret Hart was. Did he leave? Bret Hart was so boring. You go, Gene, like Ric Flair or like Shawn Michaels, and then you got Bret Hart. I felt like Bret Hart was just so plain.
Caleeb has left the
Technically a great wrestler, but certainly not.
It was everything. His swag,
the swag,
his style, how he did it, and he went in there and he was so good.
I couldn't get into it.
When I rewatch that stuff and they're like, and Brett and they're saying no, and they're saying this, the two best ever, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, different styles, but the absolute best, and they hated each other, that makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah. They legitimately hate each other too, not just on wrestling.
When you rewatch it, you're like, yo, like that shit is dope. Like watching Mick Foley as Mankind, some of that shit with Undertaker, oh man, like those dudes were amazing. Like because they're selling it, they're really going through it. Like when you talk to them and they're like, no, that actually hurt. I was unconscious. He's coming for me at this time, and you're like, what? You know? So I love it and I respect it. And those two guys were amazing, but Brett was my guy. He just was. Did
you guys ever see the clips of what went down after the Montreal Screwjob where Brett went in to see? It was nuts.
Shout out to Dark Side of the Ring, man.
And shout out, and they shoot it in Canada. The guy thought he might be Canadian.
One of my boys works on that production, baby.
Yeah, hey. I tell you this, Vince McMahon didn't think that punch was fake.
Listen, I was more of a Shawn Michaels guy than Bret Hart. Hey. Listen, I get Bret Hart was what he was, technically maybe one of the best wrestlers, in ring technical wrestlers
of all time.
He's like number one. But he was a guy that when he was like in the main event, like I wasn't the guy that, to me, in-ring performance was one thing, but I liked the show.
Yeah,
and he wasn't part of like the show.
But his entrance, like I loved his like every time he came out with that theme music.
Menza. The music and the red hair and the glasses and the
Yo, I couldn't get into it.
But I'm not gonna front on Shawn Michaels. He was
Shawn's a legend.
Yes. The thing is though, on the dark side of the ring, they showing it. He said Brett said he beat up Shawn in the locker room. So Shawn comes back. He said Shawn didn't hit him back. Shawn grabbed, Brett said he snatched hair. Shawn went in there, picked up his hair, and took it to Vince. Said, "This is an unsafe working environment." It's genius. It's genius. I thought that was so funny. But I think honestly though, not the best wrestler, one of the worst wrestlers ever, but entrance and theme music, the Ultimate Warrior.
Listen, that's not even a conversation, dude. That's not even a conversation because we all know the best entrance. You're right. If it's a category and it's best entrance, it's like Ultimate Warrior, then maybe The Undertaker, but it's
Stone Cold too with that music.
Stone Cold.
That was hard.
But Ultimate Warrior is number one because my guy, the song lasted like, I don't know, maybe 4 seconds, and the match had already started because he ran from the ramp all the way into the boxing ring. Yeah, the ropes, and it's like, well, I guess we're doing this. The rest, like, I guess we're going into it. So just give it, just like it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
It was so hype, like that music, like. Ultimate Warrior's entrance, like that song, man, like amazing. But I could talk wrestling all day. I am an 80s golden era Coco Beware. My guy was all of that, old school.
If I had to pick one guy that I enjoyed watching the most, it was Macho Man. That was my guy.
Oh, I love Macho Man.
I love the voice, the little showman stuff he would do with the cream. Best.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. I wish he was still around to be involved with.
Many of those guys. So many of my favorite wrestlers have already died.
I was gonna say R.I.P. to half the guys we mentioned already. Right. It's crazy.
So you know what? So from wrestling to what seems like some WWE, AEW type trash talking, let's talk a little A-Rod versus Sean Payton. Sean Payton gets to Denver, so it's running a mouth about Aaron Rodgers' coach. Let's start with the Sean Rodgers aspect of it first. Nigel, how out of line was Sean Payton, or was he? Was he not?
Yeah, man. Like, what do we do? Like, what are we doing? Yeah, it's crazy to see that we're getting this kind of trash talk in this offseason now because we've never really gotten this much from all kinds of, like, we're getting it from everybody. Everybody's talking trash about everybody, which is wild. And now we're going, like, the coaches are going off on the coaches and then kind of stepping back and be like, you know what? I was out of line. I was like, it's like, wait, what are we doing? It's very entertaining though. Like, it's going to make for a fantastic season because we know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, what surprised me is this was something like Rex Ryan I could see doing. I could see doing that, right? Sean Payton is a well-accomplished coach.
Yeah.
Who never really came off as a jerk. Why are you putting other people's jobs from last year? Like, last year's over. Like, this is your team now. It was almost like he wanted to put it out there. Like, well, listen, last year was such a train wreck. It was almost like he wanted to remind people, hey, this year's not that great. Remember, last year was really worse. That's what it felt like. And I felt like for someone that's so well accomplished and has won so much as Sean Payton, I just thought it was weird that Sean Payton actually went there. Like, that's something that a younger coach that might not have won something. Like I said, Rex Ryan, I could see have done that. I mean, we've seen him put down other coaches by saying, "Oh, if I had that squad, I would have won a ton of rings." He talked about that time when he talked about San Diego. If that was my team, I would have won a bunch of rings. That team's loaded. Those are like shots that you take at the other coach. I'm just surprised Sean Payton went there. Caleeb, what was your take on it?
No, I agree with you. Basic 100%. Like, I was very surprised. I feel like it was beneath him.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I will say. Here's what I forgot. It's like, don't be so smart, you stupid. You know what this is. Listen, is he not a human? Does he not want clout too? He's hearing all this talk about Nathaniel Hackett now with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets and everybody else. Nobody's talking about Denver. Everybody's talking about how sorry they are. He's like, yo, I'm Sean Payton. And somebody, his grandkid might have said, hey, Grandpa, you know what you should do? You got to get headlines. You got to get people to talk about you. That's what you need, right? He's like, yeah, you right. and then he go and say something and gets attention, but it puts pressure on the team. And I think that's smart like a fox, right? Like he wants them because now there's a target on them because now people are going to be like, oh, so did they play the Jets week 4? He's like, there we go. Right? Like if he's smart like that, which he obviously probably is, and sees down the line, like that puts pressure on Russell, pressure on the whole team to perform. And it also endears them to him because now they're like, yo, yeah, that wasn't our fault. It was the other coach. Now we with a new coach. It's like now they feel new confident. Like last year was somebody else's fault, not ours. So, like it's a good move that I think Sean thought out. If he looked at it from that perspective, it's absolutely perfect for him. It just makes him look bad, but who cares? If you get the result that you want, or if you feel you wanted the attention of it, you know what I mean? Because nobody was really talking about the Sean Payton trade over there. I mean, him coming in as a coach as much as they were talking about the Jets.
You know what else too is that was, obviously the Jets got 6 nationally televised games. We all are circling all these Jet games, Jets Chiefs, Jets Bills a couple times, Jets Dolphins a couple times. We're circling all these games. One of those games that I didn't necessarily circle is Jets Broncos. I didn't think that's got some juice to it now.
Now it does.
At the time, now it does. Now it's one of those ones you circle and you want to see how.
Imagine if now I know you guys don't want to hear this, so you could do earmuffs if you want. But if the Broncos were to win that game,
that would it hurts even more.
It does, because now in the media is going to be saying, "Uh-oh." They're not as good. Look, Sean Payton's a genius. He called it out. He knew. Now they're gonna be saying it's Nathaniel Hack. I'm telling, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It really splits all in that weird green. If they beat them in that one game, all I gotta do is win one game. If I was Sean Payton, all I gotta do is win one game. Week 4. Y'all win week 4. This season is a success.
Well, if I could just say, Sean Payton. In return, in just referring to Nathaniel Hackett, was speaking facts.
Oh, listen, I'm not disagreeing with it. He was one of the worst. He was one of those coaches in history last year. But we've also said he's not a coach. He's an offensive coordinator. He's a good, fantastic offensive coordinator.
But
whether it be true or not,
I feel like because it's 2023, and we're all inclusive, and we're all very sensitive. We're all very, very sensitive. It's like, why would you put down another coach? Come on, you need to set an example. And you kept saying, right, his age, he's an older coach. You should know better. Come on.
Yeah, he should know better.
What are you talking about?
Wait, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to come out flinging on that night? You don't think A-Rod's going to come out on fire that night?
Oh.
As Stephen A. Smith says all the time, his catchphrase when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, that's a bad man.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers has a chip on. He's one of the reasons why he's been so great is because what he do? He played with a chip on his shoulder for all these years. 25th pick in the draft. He wasn't the first overall pick. Put it on your shoulder. You take it over for Brett. Put it on your shoulder. Won't let you start for 3 years. Put it on your shoulder. He's got so many chips on the shoulder, and it's arguably one of the reasons why he's been so great. You just added another chip on his shoulder.
I got a prediction.
Go ahead.
What is it? When they play them week 4? Is that
week 4 or 5?
Week 5. Week 5.
Okay.
Week 5. Right.
Week 4 or 5.
Listen, I feel like to Gene, just piggybacking off of what you said. I feel like by the end of the first quarter, it's going to be 21-0 Jets. First quarter.
I like that.
I think Rodgers is going to be so pissed. I think he's just going to light them up. The game will eventually settle, but I think he's going to come fired up. Remember how Brady used to run out the tunnel? Yeah, in Foxborough used to run down the center of the field. Yeah, I think Rodgers is going to do the same thing, or it'll be like the reverse, where he'll walk out slow and he'll just look around. and then just go for it. And it's going to be 21-0 first quarter. It's going to be wild.
Well, I'm not denying the smackdown, right? Like, I feel like he did just put, a whole big old can of Pringles on Aaron's shoulder. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think he's wrong. Like, I actually feel like it's almost human nature when you are in a new place or, you come home and the place is a mess. You're like, damn, like, whoever was in control here sucked, and I'm about to clean up this mess. I feel like that is something that people say in their day-to-day lives. Sean Payton said it in his, and now we're taking it as, he's a bully because, that's like something that we talk about today.
I'm not even saying about it. I wouldn't even say he's a bully. I don't even mean it in that sense. I just thought it was something that was beneath him in the sense of it seemed like he was making he was pre-scheduling his excuse. Do you know what I mean? Like, listen, if it doesn't go great this year, hey, listen, you think this was bad. You should see the guy that was here last year, and I'm cleaning up all his mess. I mean, it's kind of like politics, right? What do we say? The first couple of years of a president's tenure, you clean up the guy before. Same thing. How many years does he get because he's got to clean up Nathaniel Hackett's mess? You don't get any, man. This is your team now. You didn't want to come here. You didn't have to come here. You came here. Don't complain about the shambles you walked into. I'm sure, listen, it's not like he rented this house sight unseen. He took a look. He came in. He'd seen everything that was going on, looked at the roster, looked at how the organization was run, and decided, you know what? I want to coach you guys. Yes, make that trade. Let me get over there and coach you guys. Don't start saying now that the foundation's cracked because this guy that was here last year, or, like the carpets need to be redone. Like, no, you wanted this team. You wanted to take over this team. You've now gotten this team. Now, don't start saying, well, last year the guy really screwed up, so let's be easy on me. It seemed like it almost felt like he was kind of like pre-scheduling his excuse, and I just thought, again, he's not. If he was always a trash talker, if he was Rex Ryan, I would have batted an eye. I would be like, all right, Rex, let's do this. But he's not like that. It's not in his nature to do that, which is why I was so surprised more than anything. And again, I think that you're going to have some players on the Jets that are going to want to come out and shut him up.
Right.
Namely, the bad man under center, Rodgers. And that defense, I think, is going to say, hey, you know what? We're going to shut down Russ. You think you're such an offensive genius? We're going to shut down your offense. I think the defense is going to come out in support of the offensive coach as well.
Oh, you mean that overrated defense?
Yeah. Well, according to Wudi.
You need to calm down. Take that referee shirt off. All right. All right. I would say the offense though is more likely, like, that's their coach. Like they love playing for Hack. Like Alan Lazard about to get 2 tutties, like in honor of their coach. So I don't think it was wise. I don't know if it was like because I feel like we also live in a society where we take a paragraph and then run with it. So I to this day, like we've been talking about it, I still haven't seen the full interview. I know the few quotes, right, that was pulled out. And I know he did actually expand a little bit more on the Jets, talking about how, they only won in the off season. They're probably not going to win during the regular season. So no, he's talking, he's firing his mouth, and we better lay that smack down on their candy culos on week 5. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Does anybody did we? I feel like we thought on Thursday, when we left Thursday for the weekend, we all thought that Dalvin Cook would be signing with the Jets by now.
I did too.
Are we surprised at that? And does this mean that maybe it's not happening now?
I'm not surprised.
I am. I thought he was leaving Sunday with a deal.
Well, no, he literally said in preparation for the visit, like, I'm not somebody who leaves with a deal. Like, I'm not. He literally explicitly said the words, I am not going to leave there with a deal.
I know. I just figured that they'd make it worth his while to stay. I get why he doesn't want to stay. I can't imagine the Jets offering more than 1 year, right? Guaranteed. Because by next year, Brees will be in full swing. You don't really have to worry about it. And he probably wants at least 2 years guaranteed. So I get, you don't want to be through. He doesn't want to go through this again next year. So I get that would be
the Jets. I would have given him 2 years. I would give him 2, exactly 2.
Okay. Do we think the years is the holdup?
It's probably the money.
Yeah, it's probably the money. That's what I think too.
Yeah, it's not going to be the time. He don't care about
we have the
time.
money. I don't get
It's
like,
about
so what
the
are we?
money. No.
This is our window. Right now is our window.
What have we been talking about for a month now?
I know, but here's the thing. No, I get it. But you have the money right now. Where are you putting it? Where else are you putting it?
That's what I'm saying.
They got $16 million.
They have the money.
No, well, the Jets have the money. That's what Jets have.
That's what I'm saying.
The Jets have 25 mil.
Oh, is it 20? I thought it was 16, but if it's 25, even better.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Give the guy 10
but not for a running back.
But you're not using it. You already got all the players you're gonna have.
No, they don't know what could happen. Like,
you need it back.
Yeah, but they don't have to give him $20 million.
I'm not saying 20. Give him 12.
I hope nobody's
saying. I promise you, he wants something like that. Are you kidding? He's holding it. He wants money. That's what the issue is. That's what I'm saying. He was
set to make like 13 from Minnesota, and they cut him. Right?
See, I would match that deal.
You would not.
I would give him. I would. I'm saying I'd give him.
You would give him 13 mil, really?
I would give him 13. I would give him. I'd give him a 2-year, $25 million contract, 15 guaranteed.
Wow. Well, I don't think Joe Douglas did. And
I think if he did, he would have been signed Sunday night.
Exactly. Yeah.
But my thing is this: you have the money. You have more in the cap next year too because of A-Rod. Right. Give this guy some more weapons. I'm not saying he doesn't have weapons. I'm not saying that at all. And I would have rather D-Hop. D-Hop.
Oh my God! Why were they asleep?
Especially what D-Hop got, dude. You take that $25 million, give 15 to D-Hop, 10 to Dalvin Cook. Let's go to war, and it's over. The division is ours. The conference is ours. I'm sorry, Chiefs, Kansas City. Good luck.
You literally just recited page 75 of my diary, word for word. That is exactly what I needed.
No, I told you guys, I was like, how come nobody is picking this dude up?
Yeah.
Like, remember we had a whole conversation about that. So you know how I feel about D-Hop. Do I think 1,000%? The only reason why he's not there is because A-Rod didn't want him. There's no way. Aaron gets whatever he wants in that city. Yeah. Period. Yeah. He didn't want him for whatever reason. And
but he wants Dalvin.
He wants Dalvin.
Obviously. But here's the deal. He may want him, but not like I said get him. Because think about it. I think you're right. But whether Breece Hall is back at full strength next year or not, it's because of the market of the running back. It makes more business sense to have two running backs that you can pay for less money and let them split the amount of runs that you want. So now he's not running 140 times. He's running 70 times. Exactly. You see what I mean? So now you're literally paying him what that worth and value is for that at that thing, because you're like, okay, I gave you $4 million, but you're only running the ball for me 70 times. Like, I feel like I'm overpaying then. Think about it. Then you got another running back that you can use. It's what the Eagles did. I told you, 4 running backs for less than $7 million what Miles Sanders went and got from the Panthers. Like, 4. You know what I mean? Like that's how we're doing running backs now. That's why I think it would be smart for them to pick up Cook. I mean, I think they absolutely should do it because now you can split them, and Breece has less wear and tear on that knee. It's so much. It's like duh. So it has.
And it's less wear and tear on Cook too. It's less wear and tear, and it's less wear and tear on Cook.
Right.
Breece will take those carries as well.
And I think it has to be about the money. I think Cook is overpricing himself. That's what I think as far as what the Jets believe he's worth and for the market. And they want to have money for other things too.
Fair enough. You never know who could get hurt in camp. You need to But Nigel, when you're talking about your window is this year and next year, that's your window, right? Your window is as long as A-Rod is going to be here. It's going to be 2 years. It seems like. If that's your window, is it wrong to leave any money on the table or spend your cap because it's your window? Don't worry about 5 years from now. Worry about these 2 years.
Yeah,
am I right?
I agree. I agree with you, man. I think it is right now. Like win right now. Like with the assets they have, win right now. The reason why the conversation has been all about the Jets, the reason why the Hard Knocks is covering the Jets is because we all want them to win right now. We are like, there's no reason why they can't. You add Cook, and it's a wrap, man. Like this is going to be the most exciting Jet season that we've seen in damn well a couple decades. It'll
be the best offensive roster on paper that I've seen.
Let's make it happen. So, but again, I digress because we cannot go any further with this conversation if we don't dip into, which we already have it at length, like Caleeb said, because of the running back market, man. This community, it is really dragging the whole, not only the whole NFL, but just like the fandom is just bringing us all down. Like the energy is just bringing everything down, man. As excited as fantasy football makes me, and I'm getting all the emails like, hey, your league is being reactivated. I'm like, yo, I'm jacked. But I also know morally, myself, I'm like, I feel for these running backs more than I ever have before. We all knew this was happening. We all knew. But now it's like, because they all decided to speak up and say something, we're like, oh, damn, that didn't even register to me. And then to Caleeb's point, now you're talking about how much less you can pay for two backs. You split the duties. That's why there's so many double-headed hydras out there in the league, and it's been for so long that we just didn't even realize because they just like cheaped out. But again, I'm with you, Gene. I think like, hey, if we got the money and what we've done to our team specifically, we're talking about the Jets. Yeah, let's just put whatever pennies that we have, let's put it in the jar and let's give him everything. And let's make this happen right now. 2 years, let's make it happen right now. And then we'll go from there. That might even raise the bar for the backs. Yeah. That might help raise the bar. Maybe they could be the example. Maybe that's the holdup. Maybe the holdup is Cook and his team is talking to Jets being like, listen, we're done with this shit, man. Excuse my French, but we're done with this. We could be the next. We could be the people that elevates this whole thing and just squashes this whole thing. Maybe. I don't know. But who knows?
So
Bijan Robinson can.
Yeah.
In 3 years, 4 years.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They got him for 3 years at this. Like it's, and by then they'll say, you just missed the mark, buddy. Too old. That's how they do it.
No, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's the business that it is. I don't know if it ever goes back to the other way. So Wudi, let me ask you this. Let me give you a hypothetical. They don't sign Cook because they're apart on a couple $1 million. Week 2, God forbid this. Please, God forbid this. Breece Hall re-aggravates that injury. We lose him again for the season because it just wasn't. He wasn't right. Jets go 9-8, miss the playoffs because that offense now is just gone downhill because there's no running game. Is that Coach Joe Douglas's job?
Somebody's definitely getting fired if they go 9-8 and missing the playoffs. Somebody's getting fired.
Because if it's the running game that really causes things to fall off the rails, the New York media is going to be like, you had a chance to sign Cook. You balked at an extra $1 million, an extra $2 million.
Well, I think we've already seen that they will make a move. Like when Breece went down originally, I know it didn't pan out, but they got James Robinson. Right now, there are actually like a few decent running backs out there on the market. You know, if that happens week 2, will Kareem Hunt have gotten signed somewhere by then?
I'm surprised he hasn't been signed somewhere, to be honest with you.
I am shocked. It's an abomination, if you will. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Why is there something we don't know? Like, so many people need a back right now. I get it. He might not be an every down back, but the Giants could use help in the backfield.
I think he is an every down back. You've been hoodwinked by his usage on the Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs. He was
people forget the reason why he wasn't a Chief isn't for anything on the field. It was off the field. We forget that sometimes.
And I think that's the albatross around his neck is domestic issue. Even though to my knowledge, he has not had any issues in Cleveland.
Not since. Not that I know of. That's been reported, I should say.
But the thing is, you're in a position that is already being devalued, and there's a lot of great players that still that are looking for contracts, and you have strikes against your character. That's like you know what I mean? Like it's not that you can't get a job, but you're gonna wait until the other. You know what I mean? It's like that's because the team isn't gonna do that. They're just not. You're not worth it anymore. Now, if you were a quarterback, you were a defensive end, you're a corner, might be different.
Definitely. That's a good point.
Corners are way more respected than a safety.
Yeah. No, it's definitely positional.
As far as what you get paid and all that.
I think the biggest Jets motive, like everything that we just said, like is all valid. But that Cook's wish list is literally Jets, Dolphins, Patriots. So if I'm Joe Douglas, I will give him the extra money to make sure he's not in Miami. Like that's like the last infinity stone that they need is a running back.
And that's part of, you're 100% right. That's part of what it is. Like, part of the reason why you need him isn't just for your team. It's to keep more of your competitors, because you got every team in your division, all 3 teams or all 4 teams could use him. The AFC East could use Dalvin Cook. The whole AFC East.
The whole AFC East. So you need to keep him any of those teams. He will do work. Like, so I don't know what they're doing. As you already know, page 75 in the diary, Gene, you know it well because you recited it word for word. I would have had Hopkins. I would have had Cook. We lost Hopkins. Get Cook. Like, I feel like this is, you know, like you said before, empty the wallet. This is the window. We need to do it. But if we do miss out though, like, I feel like Kareem Hunt is a great consolation. There are other guys out there like Lenny Fournette is out there, but once we start talking about names, like I would not want Zeke. I do not want Zeke.
No, Zeke's done.
You know, once we start
talking
about
I don't want Fournette either, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I feel like Fournette's kind of done too.
He's higher than Zeke, but lower than Kareem Hunt.
Yes, I agree.
If we got Kareem Hunt, I wanted Kareem Hunt when he signed in Cleveland, like that original time.
Kareem Hunt, you know what? Because Kareem Hunt's dynamic. He can do things. He's a poor man's C-Mac, right? See, he's a poor man's CMC.
A poor man's C-Mac is amazing,
but he's got the same skill set. That's what I'm saying. But he's got that same skill set. Great out of the backfield, shifty. You can line him up all over the place. This cat will not look at this guy. I feel like a super villain with this cat sitting on my lap. The Godfather, right? You can act like a man.
I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, the Jets have 4 good backs anyway.
Yeah, I love the kid they drafted in the 5th round this year. I think he's actually going to be really good. Like, not just like a backup guy that's going to be good. I think he's going to be really like starter quality good.
He could be Raheem Mostert. He literally could be like a new Mostert.
Yeah, I think he could be that good. So, all right, guys. So from that back, let's talk a little bit about the Jonathan Taylor trade request. Their Colts are talking about possibly threatening to put him on the NFI. Is there going to be a trade here? Do we see where this can go? Nigel, what would you do if you're the Colts first? You trade him?
Bro, this is a hot mess. Like, yeah, you gotta alleviate the pressure. You gotta get rid of him, man. I don't say that in a negative way. I just say that in a way to keep the team together and keep everything on the up and comings. Because it's like he doesn't want to be there, man. He doesn't want to be there. And when you have a back who's like, you know, gonna put up at least 75% of your offense, because who knows what their quarterback situation is gonna be like. You gotta appease the man, but he's done. He's out. And the only way that this can happen is if another team is like, okay, cool, we'll take the 1 year that you have left on your contract, which is like $4.3 million. We'll take that and we'll give you whatever, and you can add a franchise tag for 1 or 2 years. But that's not gonna happen because nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to match that. So it's like, I don't know what the actual easy solution is here. Because that franchise, man, you want to talk about like the last, oh boy, I mean, since Luck left, right? It's just been like an immediate downhill. Like it was like a steep. As soon as the elevator doors open, you just walked out and didn't realize that they didn't finish the floor. You know what I mean? It's like it's just been a steep drop. So I don't know what to tell you, man. This guy's the Dame of the NFL. You know, he's just like, listen, I'm out. And now somebody's got to pick up the tab, but I don't know. I don't know how that's going to happen.
I feel like you know, this is perfect for him to sit out, lower his trade value, and then like it seems like this happens all the time. Then in come the Patriots with a 5th round pick and able to swoop away with a 5th round pick. Like it happened with Randy Moss in Oakland. I remember when Randy Moss was done. He was like. And then here come the Patriots. They swoop in. They give a 4th or a 5th round pick, and they get Randy Moss, who reinvigorates that whole offense and everything. I feel like that's what this is. This is what this is going to end up happening. He's going to hold out, lower his value. Colts are going to get like basically pennies on the dollar, and it's going to be the Patriots that do it. I mean, we've seen it happen time and time again. Wudi, what do you think? Do the Colts trade him? Do they give in?
It's crazy to me because literally this time last year, and we talk about fantasy, you know, and all that. This time last year, everybody was trying to tell me that Jonathan Taylor should go number 1 overall in all of fantasy. Right? They were saying that he was the best running back in all of fantasy,
Exactly.
which I didn't agree with at the time. But to see how far he's fallen, now I feel like I got to get my Jonathan Taylor jersey on to remind people, like, this dude is a very good back. Like, he is elite is a strong word, and he has had the benefit of playing behind a tremendous offensive line. So, like, we look at these numbers right here. These numbers are incredible. But again, behind that offensive line, I'm sure, all four of us we can do something. We can do something behind that line. So,
I can get at least 2 yards a carry.
Yeah. So when Jonathan Taylor, like, he is a good back. He's on his rookie contract. Like, this isn't the same as like a Dalvin Cook or even like Saquon, who's been injured every other year. Like, this is actually kind of bizarre to me. So if I'm the Colts, I'm not even thinking. I'm not taking any, unless somebody's offering a first rounder. That's the only way I'm taking somebody's call. Because I'm like, we got to fix this in-house. And Taylor should actually be part of the building block for Anthony Richardson. You do not want your young, raw QB who one of his biggest problems is accuracy. You do not want him throwing 40 times a game. Like, you need Jonathan Taylor to, relieve that or release that pressure. So I don't know what they got to do, but they got to work on something to get Taylor happy enough to play. Unfortunately, it probably will not be paying or promise. I don't know. Like, they got to do something. Give them a signing bonus, because that's always something that teams do to give the player the money without them impacting the cap. But I would not get rid of Jonathan Taylor, so young, so productive already, on a rookie deal. Like, you're not going to get anything close to an equal return unless you get a first rounder, which I don't think people are going to offer up, unfortunately. So they got to fix this. Put a Band-Aid on it. Do something.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I think you're absolutely right. And especially the part about how valuable Jonathan Taylor is to an Anthony Richardson at this point in his career. He is absolutely critical. And you hit it right on the head when you said accuracy. Come on now. Like it's ridiculous. But this is another symptom of the big issue that's happening with the running back position. Irsay feels he's in the power position because he has him under contract. The position is devalued, so he knows it's not like he can't get another, right? So he's overlooking the power of cohesiveness, of trust between players in a team game, in a team sport. When you trust somebody, you play differently. So here's I'm going to show you an example of the Cowboys, who I hate, and the Colts and what's happening and the difference between their owners. The reason why people talk about the Cowboys and why they love Dallas is because Jerry Jones, no matter all the mistakes he may make with people he hires and stays loyal to people he shouldn't, and all of that is the thing that makes people love to play for him. Because whether they win or lose, they feel like he's got them. Jerry Jones is overpaid for players that he ain't had no business paying, but he do it because he like them. All of that. That makes other people see that. And they like, I want to play for that guy. Like there's a different sort of relationship. Mr. Irsay is putting the energy out like, you are a commodity. I don't care, right? Mm-hmm. It's less, you don't connect to the soul of that as much. I'm telling you, that's why Dallas is what they are. Like the way that he is with those players and how he and how Mr. Irsay is creates a difference, because those players see how you're treating Mr. Taylor. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm telling you, man, they'll play for you, but everything won't be in there like that. They'll be thinking of themselves and not the team.
I would say they won't play for him. They'll play for themselves and for their team.
That's right.
Definitely.
And the minute that needs to change and they have the opportunity to change it,
then
they'll change
man.
it.
That's what I'm talking about. So how you connect with your players and the soul of the organization means something, and that starts with the owner. So I'm just saying.
I mean, Irsay, listen, I wouldn't. It's hard to say how bad of an owner he is when the NFL had one of the worst owners in professional sports in Washington, right?
And you saw what was happening with his team,
right? But I would say Irsay is a poor owner. I wouldn't want him owning my team. I just feel like he's a poor owner.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys heard when he was like, listen, he goes when he was saying when himself and Jonathan Taylor are dead and buried, the NFL will just go on. They'll never remember them. They won't even remember them. If I'm Jonathan Taylor, I'm a little offended by that because my one of my things I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make a mark in this league. I'm trying to make a mark in this league. I don't want people forgetting who I am. Don't tell me that they're gonna forget me. I'm gonna do my best to be that guy. Then that's what I'm kind of piggybacking off your point. It's exactly what I'm trying to say is don't tell me that they're gonna forget who I am because I'm gonna do my best to make it a point that people remember me for years to come. And don't tell me that they won't. And
legacy, right? Talking about legacy in that 100%. Franchise, man.
And think how stupid that is. Why would you tell your star player nobody's gonna remember him?
To be fair, Irsay included himself in that.
They're gonna be building statues. I'm seeing streets with your name on it. Holidays, like everything. I need you to do. I need to tell you so you go out there and play and feel confident in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like to me, that is cutting your nose to spite your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, like what? You know that? Oh gosh, I don't know. That's like not tipping your servers and like you just want something to come bad with your food. I think there's a rock in here, right? Like what do you like? Come on, you know what I mean? You gotta be careful with the people that are close to you, who you depend on things, how you treat and talk to them if you need their help.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it ends up happening there. Let's turn our attention to some season previews. We got 3 teams we can talk about: the Browns, Panthers, and Titans. Let's start with the Titans. Nigel, what's your take on what the Titans are going to do this year? As far as do you expect anything out of them? I mean, I know they have the big wide receiver they signed. Does he elevate that receiver room? Obviously, he is good in itself, but does he help the others get better? What does he do for a quarterback? Do we even know who's going to start there? Give me your take on the Tennessee Titans?
Oh man, this is tough, man. We're talking about the AFC South. We're talking about the Tennessee Titans. You know, this division's got the Texans, the Colts, and the Jaguars. So there's a lot of just messiness in this division. Like there's just a lot of like teams trying to figure it out. Other than the Jags, we just finished talking about the Colts, so we know their situation is a hot mess and likely will be a hot mess going into the regular season. But I mean, the Titans, I don't know. The Titans are just always that team that just is like a thorn in everybody's side. They're just for some reason, and they always play these games where they tough it out and they play to your best game. So if you're playing a good game, they're going to reach that level. Like they're just that team, and they've always done it. Even before, I mean, during the McNabb era, like that was a different vibe for the team. But McNair era. Thank you. It was a different vibe of the team. But I mean, they're gonna do their best, and they're still gonna be a pain in the ass. That's what I think. I don't think they're gonna like create a crazy splash, but I think when anybody plays them, I think it's gonna be a real pain in the ass.
But let me tell you what that reason is, because there is a reason why they're a thorn in the side.
Please tell me.
Reason. Mike Vrabel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right
fair. Yeah.
It is Mike Vrabel, just like Bill Belichick. Who, I was slighting, right? I slighted for the 2023 coaches, but Bill, there's no one better. There's no one in all football better than getting the whole to be better than the sum of the parts. And that is something that Mike has brought to Tennessee. And Nigel, you usually, bring a stat and you say, I'm going to let it marinate. Bam, black owl. Here's a stat for you guys to chew on. 2 years ago, they did not have Derrick Henry. They had Ryan Tannehill, Nick Westbrook. I'm not even trying to disrespect his name, but that dude, all right, and hobbled Corey Davis. They did not have a running game. They had Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball to these bums, and they were the number 1 team in the AFC. That was 2 years ago. A league that had Patrick Mahomes healthy. They had Joe Burrow healthy. They
had Derrick Henry, did they?
They were number 1. They had the ball.
No, but I'm saying but they had Derrick Henry that year. I thought
they did not. He was
injured
there for like 5 weeks. Got hurt.
Okay, that's what I'm. All right, that's why. Okay,
and then he came back for the playoffs, but it didn't matter because Tannehill threw 3 picks. But anyway, they were the best team in that loaded AFC because Mike Vrabel gets the whole to be better than the sum of the parts. Now they got DeAndre and Treylon Burks. You can argue that that's better than what they had with, young A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. I feel like that is an arguable comparison.
I agree.
Derrick Henry is now healthy. King Henry back on the throne. They still got old-ass Tannehill. And now they're ready to charge forward. I do think this is the Jags division, but if the Titans finish any lower than second in the division, I feel like something has gone wrong. I feel like the Titans will be pushing. The Titans were first in that division for most of the year last year until it fell apart. Like they're a good roster. They're okay, right? They've lost a lot of pieces on defense between those last 2 years. Like Logan Ryan, Bud Dupree, they've lost a few people. They've lost people on their offensive line, Terrell Lewan, Ben Jones. But they still have a good enough roster and an elite coach, literally top of the line coach. So I think they could surprise us in the AFC South. I think they will be competitive with the Jags, in those later weeks of the season.
Well, I agree with you. I think you're right, but I think you really hit it on the head when you talked about Mike Vrabel, and you made me really look at what I was going to say. Like, you really changed my argument because I'm like, you're right. You brought up the point that Derrick Henry got hurt because I was going to say 2 words, Derrick Henry, right? And the reason why is because of his ability to control the game with the run. And what I mean by that is it's like a boxer who could control the fight with a jab. Right? It's like what Larry Holmes was able to do, right? It's like one of those things that just keeps you off, right? So I feel like Derrick Henry has that. The issue, I'll tie it back to the owners again. Derrick Henry was one of those running backs that's not very happy, right? An unhappy running back who knows even if he performs, all your boys aren't gonna still give him. He ain't gonna get the money nowhere. You know what I mean? Like this is until that culture changes. Like, you got to think about the mindset, because to go out there and really perform at that level and to do it, the guys that feel good about their situation inside, like, they're going to perform better. It's just what it is. And I don't know how Derrick is feeling if he's going to want to put himself out there and risk injury and risk all that, knowing that it's not going to be respected in that way, not in the way that he wants it to be, which is monetarily. You see what I mean? So it's going to be interesting, but barring all that, Tennessee is fired because Derrick Henry, he runs old school, and that's Mike Vrabel's style. And then adding B-Hop is just, D-Hop is just insane. Sorry, I was saying B-Hop, think about boxing. But D-Hop in the sense of he can, like, he's a possession receiver. So, like, throwing him the ball when you need it, and he can and snap, like, getting those extra first downs in games to help Henry with the running game only opens up the passing more. Like, that's a style of, like, if you were a boxer, you just got a good jab in a right hand. 1-1-2, 1-1-2. You can take that to the championship if you know how to use. It's that deadly. It's so rudimentary, but deadly. Like, if you master that, it's crazy. So I think that combination, that old school combination that everybody already know, Vrabel is really good with that Belichick system. I think it makes Tennessee nasty. And of course, second place is it's last place, because there's only 2 things to go against. You know what I mean? Like in all honesty, anything can happen in your interdivisional games, but come on. You know what I mean? And I agree, the Jags, but Derrick Henry running good, it's not an easy win, I tell you that.
No. Well, so let's get into the under-overs, guys. The under and over this season is 7.5 for the Tennessee Titans. So let's go around the room. Start with you, Caleb. And overall under 7.5. How many wins you got them at?
I'm gonna go over simply because the division that they're in. They could potentially get 4 games right there.
Yeah.
Just in their division. So all they got to do is get 3 more to, you know what I mean? So I would take the over in that.
Okay. And you have, 8-9 wins?
I would just say 8. Like, no more than 8. I would really say 7, but no more than 8. Yeah.
Nige?
Yeah, same boat. I agree completely. I think it's like 8-9 max. That's me being like, hey, I'm in a good mood today. Again, because of the division, man. So I think, yeah. So
Nigel is always in a good mood. Nigel, you're always in a good mood. I've never seen you.
Then I get offline and I'm like, oh, God.
Son of a bitch.
I got so many things to do today.
Wudi, under over 7.5.
Definitely smashing the over, even though I would agree that it's 9 max and probably 8. But I'm very confident in that 8.
Do we all agree it's the division is what gives you the confidence going over?
Because they can get 4. Just say they lose both to the Jags. They still got 2 more. Yeah. I mean, 2 against the other 2 rivals. So come on.
There you go. All right, now let's talk about last year's number 1 overall pick, the Carolina Panthers. Wudi, we'll start with you. What's your take for the Panthers this year? What's your outcome?
The Panthers, I like the Panthers. I think they have a pretty decent shot of also finishing second in their division. I think we would all agree that because we just went from the AFC South to the NFC South, we're talking about the 2 worst divisions in all of football by like quite a large margin.
Yes,
I don't even know what the 3rd worst is, but so the way I see it, the Saints probably have this one on lock, and then it'll be the Falcons, Panthers, and I can't even remember the Bucks. Bucks with Faker Mayfield. So here's what I like about the Panthers. All right. Panthers, they just drafted a new QB, Frank Reich, right? He was their first QB, right? Yeah. He works with QBs. He develops QBs, and too many times recently we've had organizations invest very high draft picks into quarterbacks that have a defensive coach, and it hasn't always worked out. You know, Zach Wilson is an example of that. Hasn't been great. Now, Trey Lance, you know, and Kyle Shanahan and everything that, you know, Gene, and I also respect Kyle Shanahan. You know, Trey has been injured, so I will exempt his example from here. But Frank Reich, what he did with Carson Wentz, right, in Philadelphia, the Eagles, when they won the Super Bowl, who was the OC? It was Frank Reich. So this is somebody who I could trust to develop this young number 1 overall pick. This was Frank's pick. Right, he had the choice of C.J. Stroud, Bryce. He went with Bryce. Right, he has a young, very young but very talented O-line, a very good O-line. All right, I think Miles Sanders, no disrespect to anybody in this podcast, was held back. It was held back in Philly. I feel like
erroneous on all counts.
No, he is a good back. He is a great back.
He's a good back.
Sorry, yeah, not great. He is a good back. And behind that line, I think he will do a lot of good things. Now, the receivers, not that great. but
you okay, man? You're not you okay? You good? You okay?
I don't know.
It's
not good.
Yeah.
It is not good. But the defense, they have one of the best young defenses. This is a defense that's climbing up. Every year it's been climbing up. Brian Burns has literally turned into one of the best edge rushers in the entire NFL. Look at all these names. These are all very valid names all across the board. Literally all across. Xavier Woods from the Cowboys. So many at all 3 levels of the defense. So many talented players. So really what Frank Reich has to do, and this is literally what he's done his whole career, is manage a quarterback, right? Is get the best of the quarterback. If he can do that, the defense will do its job. If he can get the best out of Bryce, squeeze in a decent rookie season out of him, then yes, they would be second in their division, which is still not a lot of wins, but good enough to make Carolina feel good about their new coach and their new QB.
Caleb?
I mean, I agree with what Wudi's saying there, especially about the Frank Reich of it, right? I get it. But I'm just going to say this because because he's right. I'm just saying, I think the Falcons could surprise people. Not saying they're going to win, not saying any of that, but I'm just saying, just watch them. Because nobody's really checking, but they're secretly stacked up, right? If their quarterback is halfway decent, it could be nasty offensively. Mm-hmm. Right? They got great receivers. One of my favorite tight ends, who's healthy, by the way. And this new young stud, who can't wait to show that he should be the running back that changes the deals. He should be the Patrick Mahomes or whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, so, and they gotta, okay, their defense, it's okay. It's not trash, right? I think maybe they could do something because David Carr.
Derek Carr.
What I say, I'm just
David,
saying, like what I say, I think, listen, I think the Saints are getting a little bit more props than what maybe they should have because here's one thing, my boy ain't there. Alvin Kamara's about to get suspended. We don't know how many games.
Yeah.
It's happening though, right? So that's a huge weapon to lose for Carr. Then we don't know what Michael Thomas is going to be like.
That's also true.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
He could be great or he could be a nothing. I mean,
Wudi just gave a fantastic description of how good the Jaguars got young boys on their defense. The young defense that's ready. He's old. He set that record when Drew Brees was the quarterback. I'm just saying. So my point is, it's not a shoe-in for them. Why can't Atlanta? That's all I'm saying. Like, that's how open it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I don't have the same faith in Baker because I have seen him, but I love his commercials. I think he's hilarious. I think he should do commercials for the rest.
He
does a great commercial.
I'm not saying the Bucs are going to finish in last, but they're the only team that I know. Like you said, the Falcons could turn out being really good this year. The Saints could turn out being really good this year. The Carolina Panthers could turn out being really good this year. We know the Bucs won't turn out to be good this year. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying the Bucs have to finish in last. One of those other teams could still finish in last, but you see more promise in those teams. Where I wouldn't be surprised if any one of those other three teams win the division, but I know the Bucs won't win the division.
Yeah.
Right.
So and that's my thing too with the Panthers. I see a lot of nice building blocks, a lot of nice pieces. I love the coach. Frank Reich was a guy I would have loved to it before we had Salah. I would have loved to see coach the Jets. He was a guy I liked. I think the timing always just never, he had a place to be when we had the openings. He just wasn't available. But Frank Reich would have been a guy that I would have loved. Former Jet quarterback. He was a Jet for a second. I think that they're really building that team the right way. And I'm excited to see what they actually do in the future. Nigel, what's your take with the Panthers?
I'm gonna keep it real short. I think the Sanders thing is a great comment. That's actually what I was gonna mention. I mean, this guy's going to his 5th season, and he's got just under 4,000 yards under his belt. Like, I mean, and last season, that's accumulatively, and last season he put up 1,200. So it's like this guy might get a really good chance to play. 11 TDs, so it's gonna be nice over there. My other major point: if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you're gonna have a good time or a very bad time. I think it's just like that cut and dry. I don't think it's going to be a time where you're going to be on average of your feels about your favorite team. I think it's going to be one or the other because we've all seen what happens when rookie quarterbacks come in. Very, very rarely, with the modern exception of like a Burrow kind of thing, they've gotten crushed. And I don't mean like physically. I mean, physically, mentally, and so I think what's going to happen here is that again, the fans will either have a good time or they're going to have a real tough time. Even picking, go ahead.
No, okay, you're 1,000% right. Like I was just saying, I agree. You can keep going. I'm just like,
and even like Pickett's right for me. For Pickett, it was the same thing. There's like a lot of energy around these rookie quarterbacks, and unfortunately, the league is so fast. We've mentioned this before. It's caught up so quick. Actually, you guys were using the analogy of UFC and how people have caught up to other people's games. But you can use the same kind of conversation. It's like the league's caught up. So it's like these rookie quarterbacks are having a real hard time adjusting, not because they're not good, just because the league is just so fast and has changed so much defensively and offensively. If you don't have a line put in place immediately, it's going to be a problem. So I'm hoping that they have a decent season. I'm hoping that like things happen. I think they're going to be boring as hell, and I also think that they're going to finish. Like I hate looking at this division. I'm just looking at it right now. Just looking at it makes me like I'm falling asleep looking at these teams. But I do think Caleb's right. I think watch out for Atlanta and New Orleans. I mean, who knows what you're going to get, but I think everybody here, we're all in agreement that we know Tampa Bay is definitely going to be at the bottom of this barrel. So yeah, I mean, that's it. Nothing, no huge revelation with Carolina. I'm excited for Bryce though. I'm excited.
No,
Me too.
I'm excited for Bryce too. Here's the only issue. He's my height.
I know.
Like, he's the same. I'm 5'11". That's what he is. Trust me.
Is he even 5'11"?
Yeah, I think he might be like 5'9" or something.
Yeah.
I'm 5'11", 6 feet with shoes though. But the point is this. What I'm saying is the average offensive lineman is like 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". Some, like these are big men. Right? Mm-hmm. Why? Like it's hard to see over them. That's what's happening with my boy Kyler Murray. That's what happened with Drew Brees. Like he had a cannon of an arm in accuracy, but Drew had to like move around to see, or they had to spread the pocket a lot because he couldn't see over. That's an issue because the NFL is a lot faster. Nigel just said the same. Like they're so fast now. Like they're coming. It's gonna be difficult for Bryce. I wish him the best, but he's at a physical disadvantage.
If you go to the ESPN site, there's obviously a bunch of articles about Bryce, and and it's got a bunch of thumbnails. One of the thumbnails is like him giving a high five to a lineman. I think it's a lineman, could be a receiver because the number's like 83, but he is for sure like a foot shorter. Like it's just like, oh boy, this is gonna.
That to me, that means something in the NFL because now you have to move more because you have you know what I mean? That's the only reason why Kyler Murray could be a quarterback is because he can move because at that height. He's like 5'8". Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, think about that. And I think that's what's really happening with Russell Wilson. He's short too, and he's older now. He can't move like he used to. The defenders get faster every season, and you get older.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So I think that has a lot more to do with it than he's just like it's just Nathaniel Hackett's fault.
So real quick, we'll go under over for the Carolina Panthers is also 7.5. Caleb 7.5.
Yes. Over.
Yeah, Nigel.
Under.
Wudi.
Damn. I might go under. I think I'm gonna go under.
I'm gonna put under, but by that half. I think they do 7 wins.
I just zagged because I'm just like. The league, it's so up because the Falcons could end up being trash.
But he's right. No, but he's 100% right. That's what I meant before. Like we don't know which team is really going to excel because they all have they're all young and building.
But this whole division last year only got like 8 wins. Like no one got more than 8 wins this whole division last year.
Right.
So 7.5, like I feel like that's really
I could see them getting 7 wins. So I take the under because I have them getting 7 wins.
I can see 7 too.
All
right. So I know we're going to get into the end of the show. Last topic: Cleveland Browns. I'll start with Nigel since that's in his division. What's your outlook for the Browns this year? The Brownies.
I mean, they're gonna be dangerous, man. There's no listen. We've said this a million times. Like this team is ridiculous, and on paper and even on the field, we're talking about again one of the toughest divisions. I said this before. I said this early in the pod. One of the toughest divisions. I mean, I'm not. My personal feelings towards Deshaun is different than my feelings from the fantasy standpoint. But I mean, if he
depends on whose fantasy. Is it his fantasy or your fantasy?
yeah, definitely not mine. But like, if he is who he was of the early aughts, the early years, then and now with everything that they've built up, they're just going to do exactly what they did last year. But now they'll come through. Luckily, there was a lot of holes in their system, and they just couldn't finish out games. So there's a lot of things that they could correct that they just couldn't correct on the fly last year. But I think this year they're going to come in with such a different outlook. I mean, one of my favorite players on that team is David Njoku, like the tight end. Yeah. He's not even like a secret weapon anymore. Now we all know that he's a weapon. He's a legit threat. Caleb had mentioned tight ends earlier in the pod. And he's one of those ones where if you're drafting and if all of a sudden the heat starts falling on tight ends, you better pick him up immediately because he's good. He's going to put up numbers, man. And so I think, with the receiver core, Cooper Moore, Peoples Jones for sure. So they're going to be tough, man. Again, now with that injury, let's go all the way back to the beginning of the pod. with that Cincy injury, man, with that Burrow injury, it really opens things up, at least at the beginning of the season. So that could be the tightest part of the AFC North race right there, is the very beginning of the season. So that's where all the jockeying is going to happen.
I get it. Now, we'll go real quick. We won't save it to the end. We'll do it now. 9.5 is there under over? What do you have?
Over.
Over. Okay. What do you think they end up?
I think they'll go 10. I think over by a point, like 10, maybe 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wudi, give us your Cleveland Brown take.
I am also taking the over. I feel like I've been silently one of the biggest.
Yes, you have.
Brown,
hasn't been silent. I've heard you every time.
I do think the NFC North, I think it is number one in toughest divisions. The AFC East, obviously the NFC East is tough too. But I think AFC North, that's where it's at. All 4 teams really good. This team, there's just not a team out there where you can say like O-line top 4. The edge, because now they got Zadarius Smith with Myles Garrett. That literally could be number 1.
Did he freeze?
Or
there we go.
Top 4, if we want to debate. Anything outside of 4 is egregious. Then you got Denzel Ward, top 10. Like, you have every single position, they have elite talent, like talent that you cannot they do not grow on trees. Wide receiver I wouldn't put them as high, but anybody who has seen me talk about anything in my life knows how big of a fan I was of Elijah Moore. I'm still crying. You can refer, I keep talking about page 75. You can refer to pages 41 to 53. That's 12 straight pages of me crying in my diary about Elijah Moore. And now he's a Cleveland Brown. So that is a huge get for them between Cooper, Brown, Peoples-Jones. Nigel was right about Njoku. I think he's underrated. He's a supreme talent who just had Faker Mayfield throwing him the football. But there are 2 keys that could just have this whole thing crumble, which it does every year, right? Because all these people have been on the team, besides Elijah, all these people have been on the team for years now. And here are the 2 things, right? Is Stefanski a real coach? I don't know. I still don't know.
That's a great question. That's a great question.
And then Deshaun Watson. He is the X factor. If Deshaun returns to Houston, okay, the lead, we're talking about 9.5, 12, 30, this could be an elite team, one of the best teams in the entire league. But, if he's still, got one hand here, one hand there, and still trying to figure things out, and Stefanski's not a real coach, then we can actually be under. We could fall under that. I don't think both of those things will happen. I think what will happen is we'll see Deshaun return to form, and Stefanski won't be a real coach, so they'll settle around 11. But the sky is the limit. I feel like if they miss the playoffs this year, somebody has to be fired. You almost have to either, are you going to blow it up, which sounds crazy because they have all these pieces in place, but the regime is just not working because it's been 5 years of this Myles Garrett era, and you have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
So something has to break, and
it's just that it's such a hard division. That's what makes it hard. It's a tough division.
It is.
To say listen, in a lot of other divisions, they could run away with their division. This is one where they can't. And we'll see if the Burrow injury is serious, then that opens the door even more for them.
Yeah.
But if Burrow is not seriously injured, if he does come back week 1 and picks up where he left off last season, it's hard to say Browns could be the best team in that division. They might be the 3rd best team in that division, as good as they are, just because the Bengals are going to be really, really tough, and the Ravens are going to be really, really tough. Steelers are going to be better this year. That is a really scary division.
It is.
That division does suck.
So what's interesting is, I agree. I mean, Deshaun is the whole X factor, depending on how he plays. Because he's still a very young man. Yeah. So he should be okay. He had 2 years off. So his body, that's 2 years less of hits that he would have taken, 2 years less of what Lamar has taken, essentially. All of that. So he should be okay. The problem is the game. I tell you, Warren Sapp had a quote. He said the fastest adapting organism in the universe is an NFL defense, right? And it's how they just the speed of it, how it moves. It's going to be interesting if he is up to speed with it himself, and then can the offensive line perform? If they do that and say those things happen, it's going to be really hard to beat Cleveland, especially if Burrow is not there. And even if he is, it changes everything. You know what I mean? Like, and it becomes nasty. Now, Nigel, you must not like Deshaun because of the massages and, hey, hey, he likes icy hot, what you gonna say? But outside of that, I'm just saying, I think that they can be nasty for all the things that Wudi said. Like, are you kidding me? And so, I know I'm using them in Madden. That's a given. You know what I mean? Like it's certain teams that Dolphins. Don't matter if Tua is injured or not. I'll pull him off of injured and put him in the game. Okay? So it's gonna be interesting. But I'm excited. I'm excited for Cleveland, and I'm actually rooting for Deshaun. I want to see him get back to doing his thing. Made a mistake. Okay, get it. You got your own things. That's you. But as far as the game is concerned, I'm looking forward to see him and seeing if he can do it.
So what's your under?
Damn sure owed a whole lot of money.
Yeah. But what's your under over for 9.5? Over. I think we're all in that same boat right there.
I forgot to mention Nick Chubb when I was talking about how they.
Oh yeah, you know what? None of us mentioned Nick Chubb. That's 100% right.
Because it's a given. It's a given.
But yeah, dude, yeah. So there we go.
There you go. Guys, that's going to do it for this show. Tune in on Thursday. We'll be talking about the NFL sack leaders. We'll talk a little bit of basketball. We'll talk a little Lonzo Ball. We're going to talk some wide receivers. We're going to talk previews for the Jets, Packers, and the Patriots. And a bunch of other NFL stuff that's coming up. I'm sure there'll be some more news.
People don't want to hear nothing about no Lonzo Ball.
I just feel bad for the guy, man. But
I love Lonzo.
But guys, we'll be back on Thursday with that. So last words of the day. Wudi, what's your last words?
New month. Let's make it better than last month.
Hey.
Love it. Right. Nigel, what's your last words of the day?
Oh, man, you see me with the Jays fitted on. Listen, I'm going to the Jays game tonight, so I got that red cap on. Shout out to Caleeb. This is the one he almost got. He was so close. So guess what? Today's the only day I don't need a hat today.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yo, hey,
Caleeb, last words of the day.
Yes, sir. As always, spread love is the Brooklyn way, y'all. Have a great one.
There you go, guys. Have a great today, a better tomorrow. We will see you on Thursday. Adios, my friends.
Peace.
That's the pop off for today, folks. Thank you to all of our listeners, as well as our producers, Patty Puddles and Fareed Kameo. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to hear what these hooligans will pop off about next.